Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Tonight, we are talking about the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case, the filing out of Tennessee, and we're going to go over more of those filings. Also, local reporter says, not so fast, not so fast. Nick bare ass. A lot to talk about on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace, smile through pain with a painted face. They call me too loud, too much, too strong, but honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my plan, but I'll rise again. Just watch me stand. Judged by the gloss, not the cause. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roar, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. Holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul, through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
Let's go.
Hold up, lights on, chat in the room, another late night, and another headline blooming. Coffee gone cold, but the story got heat, and one little detail keep tapping my screen. Coming in clutch, when the timeline bends, we don't just scroll, we connect loose ends. Somebody said, nah, that's probably enough, but the chat said, Justin, we're coming in clutch. Run that back, don't rush that part. Something fell wrong from the very first start. Different day, same shaky excuse, and the math ain't mathin' when we check the proof. I'm not here to play detective for fame, I'm here when the story starts changing names. One clip, one call, one post too much, and the whole room knows we're coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, yeah, the facts stay loud. Truth don't hide when we bring the crowd. Screens lit up and the chat don't sleep. We dig real deep where the stories get steep. Pearls in the chat, lights in the back. Somebody better explain why the story went flat. You can dodge one question, maybe dodge two, but the internet clock what you said don't cue. Wait, say that again. You said it was there, then it wasn't back then. You said you forgot, but the record got saved. Now the chat's wide awake and the room just changed.
Coming in clutch when it all gets strange, when the facts get buried and the tone starts change. We don't need drama, the truth does enough. That's why they pull up, we're coming in clutch.
Late night crew, yeah, we built this thing. One live stream turned to a whole damn ring. Members in green minds holding it down. Whole chat moving like a small town crowd. No fake hype, no lazy spin. Just one more clue and we're back again. If it don't sit right, we don't let it slide. We put the detail right up on live.
Coming in clutch, say it one more time. Whole room locked on the very next line. From the first red flag to the final touch, you know where to be, we're coming in clutch.
When the screen fades out and the night gets still, somebody somewhere knows truth comes real. We'll be right here when the next facts drop. Coming in clutch and we don't just stop.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options, anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is July 17th, 2026. It is currently 8 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Hello, beautiful pals. Good to see you all in the chat as you guys are filing on in here. How's everybody doing today? Good to see you all. Really do appreciate you. Tonight we are continuing with part 3 in the filing of Seth Rogers, the father of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, who vanished from his Hendersonville, Tennessee home in February of 2024. Since then, there's been no sighting of Sebastian, and Sumner County Police has been very quiet. And we're going to get to a lot of that. Hello, everyone. Miss Tina Connie. Hey, Jude. How you doing? Patty. Miss Shari. Good to see you. Forget me not. Never could. Never will. Leslie. Good to see you, dear. Nice Marie. Bonjour. Hello, Miss Melissa. How you doing? Crazy Buck. There's Holly. How you doing, girl? Miss Lolo. Baby kisses. Connie. Susan. Who else we got? Tina, Miss Grace Paris. Good to see you, honey. Patty Wine, Crazy Buck, Christy, Martha, Connie, Smiley Miley, Patty. Good to see you. Green Eyes. Baby, good to see everyone. Good to see everyone. Much love to each of you. Catherine, thank you so much for renewing your membership, my dear. Really appreciate the continued support, my dear. Really appreciate you. And hey, Jude, thank you for gifting a pearl necklace. Really do appreciate that. If you received that, please thank our dear Hey Jude for gifting a pearl necklace, making someone's day. Miss Michelle, hello. Happy today is Friday. For happy Friday. I hope everyone and my internet went out a second. Sorry if I skipped there. So you guys know that local reporters reported on Sebastian, national reporters, YouTubers, TikTokers, Facebookers, everyone reported on Sebastian, it seemed like. And one of the main local reporters, his name is Nick Barras. I call him Nick Barras. And he kind of went, I don't want to say he went hard, but he went toward that, something seemed really weird. And he did press Sumner County in the beginning. And then all of a sudden, he just almost like completely takes everything back. I don't want to speak for him. I'm not, or anything, but it's like he just kind of, it's like what happened with him. And, he didn't get the interview, obviously, with Seth. Seth did an exclusive interview with our friends WSMV. And, this reporter works for a different news station. And he made a little posty post, and I'm going to talk about it. Yeah. Oh, hey, Seth. Good to see you, my friend. It's called The Idiot of KP COPI. I don't get what that means, but I'm really bad with initials. I know what the KP means, but I don't know what the rest means. So, he kept saying, he was the one who put out the flashlight video. He was the reporter that put out the flashlight video. And there's varying opinions on that flashlight video. I certainly have mine. And then he did this interview with Sheriff Eric Craddock. And Eric Craddock said there's nothing to see here. And then Nick said, well, then, what is it, more or less? I should pull that up. I should pull that video up to refresh me. And he says, I can't tell you that or whatever. And it's like with Sheriff Snuggle Struggle. Yes. Okay. I want to go over what Mr. Nick Bearass said in this thing, which, he's free to say his opinion just like anybody else. Damn, it's blurry. Huh. Let me see if I can pull it up on his Facebook. That might be better rather than just saving it. Let me see here. Let's see, so it'll be more clear. Nick Bearass. When did he post this? He posts like so much. It's crazy. Okay, 3 hours ago. 3 hours ago. He posted this. It's going to be a little blurry, but you'll just have to trust me. You just have to trust me. You can go to his Facebook page and view it if you want. Okay. He says the father of missing Sebastian Rogers files lawsuit. This is the latest twist in the sad case of the missing teen so many have closely followed. Seth Rogers, the father of Sebastian, accuses Tennessee child welfare officials and Sumner County authorities of failing his son. Sebastian disappeared from his mother and stepfather's Hendersonville home on February 26th, 2024, when he was 15. He has autism and other developmental conditions. One lawsuit accuses the Tennessee Department of Children's Services of failing to protect Sebastian despite investigating his household twice before he disappeared. The second lawsuit accuses the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Eric Craddock, and Detective Brandon Carter of mishandling the investigation. Neither DCS or the Sheriff's Office have commented because of pending litigation. You can't get them to talk anyways. That's the whole fucking point. I spoke with noted. Okay, this is where. This is the little jab. I feel like this part right here. I spoke with noted Nashville constitutional attorney David Rabin. He is not involved in this case, but is aware of the details. Rabin tells me in situations like this, quote, a government entity is not accountable, end quote. Rabin says he does not know whether the government entities did a good job or not. But he says, regardless, quote, the law does not allow for recovery for the government not doing a good enough job. Well, fuck me. Yeah, I'm telling you something. It's just amazing how the government can hold us accountable, but fuck, someone's child is out there, and a lot of things went on from Sebastian's own mouth, and they're not held accountable. Let me see here. Let's see here. Hold on one second. Let's me find it here. Well, I just want to go remind you about a little something here. If anyone remembers Harmony Montgomery's case, now they filed a wrongful death. They filed a wrongful death against the state of New Hampshire, right? And guess what? Crystal Sorey received $2,250,000. $2,250,000. So let me see here. 1 second. I think this is it.
Well, the mother of Harmony Montgomery has settled her wrongful death lawsuit against the state of New Hampshire, and that settlement is worth $2.25 million. Crystal Sorey sued the state in September. She says the Division for Children, Youth, and Families failed to act on reports from multiple people about her daughter's welfare after Harmony's father was awarded custody of the girl in February of 2019. Adam Montgomery was convicted of second-degree murder. Harmony's body, to this day, was never found.
Yeah. Now, again, I want to make it extremely clear. Different situation.
We can do better than this. It's time for real.
Different situation, different filing. Nonetheless, she sued the state of New Hampshire because of the CPS practices, and the government was held accountable there. Right. And it's not about, in my opinion, with this, it's not about the money or anything. It's about being held accountable for things that, I mean, if you listen to us reading last night over these documents, in which we're going to continue here in a little bit, and you listen to the words that came out of some of the parents' mouth, is crazy. It's absolutely crazy, in my opinion. But that's, again, that's just me. Everyone's opinion is, welcome here. They're, at the end of the day, we should want Sebastian found. And nobody, in my opinion, should be satisfied 2.5 years later and not, and like I said yesterday, not an updated press conference, not a we are making progress on this case, or you know what, we're at where we were. Give the public something that we know you have not forgot about Sebastian. One press conference without even his photo up, to me, is deplorable. And I would think that all three parents would not be okay with their son not being found and the police not saying anything. I mean, I just don't understand how any parent could or would be okay with that, right? Do you want this swept under the rug? Is that what you want? So it just moves on. If you guys have moved on, Sumner County, give it to the FBI. Just, there's nothing wrong with that. You would be praised for it. If you guys can't find the answers, and if you can't agree, you know what I'm talking about, on certain issues in this case, then give it to the FBI. That's it. That's it. What's wrong with that? I mean, all three parents say that they want Sebastian found, that this is, obviously unacceptable, that Sebastian hasn't been found over 2.5 years. I mean, we're still under the assumption that they haven't found a scent, that they don't know that he even walked out the door. And I would be, I really am just trying to put myself in any parent position. God forbid it would be mine or your children. I don't think we would be okay with that. Right? Now, do I think Seth is going to get 25, 15 or 25, whatever? No, I don't. I think they'll probably end up settling, in my opinion. But what there needs to be is, which he is fighting for in these documents, so this doesn't happen to others, to other kids. So this can hopefully save some children's lives. There needs, more than anything in my, there needs to be a registry nationally for CPS. There needs to be. We have this for registered S offenders, but we don't have it for potential child neglecting or child abusers. It makes no sense to me. Never did. I've screamed it from the rooftops for years. Robin, thank you so much, my dear. Appreciate you. Good to see you, my dear. Long time no see. Thank you for renewing. Good to see you, honey. Dolores, hey, where you been, girl? You okay? Love you, Miss Dolores. Appreciate you very, very much. Thank you so much. Mini Panthers, thank you for 21 months, my dear. In my opinion, the high-profile attorney Seth retained wouldn't have taken the case if it was not winnable. NB caved due to LE. He's salty. He didn't get the interview. I agree. I agree with everything you said there. I agree with absolutely everything you said there. I think some things in this document or this filing will be easier than others. But here's the thing. I mean, last night, if you weren't here for it last night or really early this morning, I was way late and did 2 laps yesterday. And both times Sebastian was, they said that Sebastian was eligible to be put in foster care in these CPS documents. And if he was eligible, I mean, just kind of think about this, right? Not a side. We're not talking about sides here, because truly, this has nothing to do with a side. I just want to make that extraordinarily clear. This is the state failing a parent, right? It really, it's not Seth going at Chris or Katie or anything like that. He is going to the state CPS. So, but just put yourself in someone else's shoes. If you were a parent or are a parent and you have a split household, you've been divorced, you have kids, and there is CPS that comes to your ex's house because of your kid a couple times or whatever, and you are not notified. And then after not only not being notified about, he could potentially have been in foster care. He was approved for that twice in those documents. I don't think anybody's okay with that. I just don't think anybody's okay with that. You know, I don't think I wouldn't be okay with that. I don't think, you know, for instance, I don't think Chris would be okay with that in, you know, with his situation, right? I don't think Chris would be okay with that. I don't think anybody would be okay with that. Seth shouldn't be okay with it. I don't think Katie would be okay with it either. So there's that. And about the Nick bare ass thing, I think, you know, we've talked about this with particularly in the Nancy Guthrie case. Many times local reporters will tower down to the local police because of their sources, right? I'm not going to fuck with you if you know, give me some flack with, you know, some of the news or whatever. So you obey and want certain things, in my opinion, so you can get the sources or the details in other stories. It's just the way and national media doesn't really have to do that. That's the good thing about national media. But I agree. Totally agree. Julie, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Jules, sorry, I apologize. Thank you so very much for your support. Really appreciate you, Miss Jules. How you been, love? You're an OG. Appreciate you, baby. Thank you so much for your support. Good to see you. And thank you again, Miss Dolores. Appreciate you very much, Mama. Hope you're feeling okay. Sense of Soul, thank you for 27 months, my dear. Really appreciate that. Been here since Sebastian went missing, and I won't give up hope. I pray Seth gets justice in the system failed Sebastian. Yeah, I agree. And, you know, the system is continuing to fail Sebastian, in my opinion, if they're not making progress on where Sebastian's at. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't give, you know, I understand that law enforcement can't come out and just say, so this is what we've done in the last 2.5 years, like specifics. But you could have a meeting with the parents. You could have a press conference, because obviously people are still very interested in Sebastian's case, and the media attention is there, and say, you know, we can't go into specifics, but we have made progress on this, and we won't stop till there's a resolution on this. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with a 10-minute conference? But this is what happens. You get pride. Pride gets in the way. Pride to hand a case over. Pride just to dig your heels in. And Sebastian suffers because of that. Ego, edging God out. Yes, Ginger. And listen, do I think Sumner County has, obviously, you know, they work with the TBI. I think that they've even contacted, and I know what their argument would, in my opinion, be. Well, we've contacted the FBI. They don't see anything differently than we do. I know what they're going to argue. Then give it to them. Then just fucking give it to them. I know your argument, guys. So it doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me. Maybe not flip off the father, allegedly. That I heard about that. If that happened, that's entirely unprofessional. Yeah, something went on at that cemetery over there. Sure did. It sure did. All right, guys. Did anything else come out with WSMV? I just want to see if anything else come out. No, I don't think anything else came out with Sebastian. I'm pretty sure it didn't. Okay. So I want to get to some of these documents, and we've kind of been reading along with these documents, obviously commenting on it, and kind of going back to the very beginning of some of the things that was initially said, particularly by Katie, the mother of Sebastian Rogers, because it's important. She claims she was the only one there with Sebastian. Chris, the stepfather, he claims he was in the Memphis area working. However, in these documents, or in this filing, rather, these filing documents, Seth's attorney is claiming that they checked on, I'm paraphrasing here, they checked to see where the stepfather was, but they did not actively say how that they checked and how they came to that conclusion, right? Just saying, well, we checked. That's, did you really investigate who, what, when, where, how? You know what I mean? So remembering, Brandy says, remembering Chris told Seth, don't be mad, but Sebastian is missing. Yes, when he left a voicemail while he knew the emergency number to contact Seth that. Yes, yeah. There is an emergency number there at the jail that, obviously if there's an emergency in one of the employees' families, they can call. They can call. And remember, what if this goes south? What if this goes south? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to get to these documents. We stopped on page, I think, 14, and we stopped at the non-custodial placement. I think that's where we were. Let me make sure. Okay. So that is where we stopped on September 29, 2022. The case included a non-custodial placement needed, indicating DCS recognized Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers might need to be placed outside the home. Unimaginable, you not know, just really unimaginable. Okay, moving on here. And there was something else that I wanted to go over real quick. That the Tennessee, the Section 5E Tennessee determination is particularly significant. Title 5 of the Social Security Act provides federal funding to foster care. Right, it's putting a child in foster care. A child determined to meet 5E candidacy criteria is one whom the state had formally found to be, quote, at serious or imminent risk of removal from their home, end quote. DCS made the finding that about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers and then left him in the very home from whom, which it was determined that he had a serious risk of being removed. The combination of documented SA, what happened in California, physical abuse by P-Foot, admitted that P-Foot himself, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, expressed fear of P-Foot. Neighbors reporting Proudfoot, and this is the documents, this is not me saying this, quote, hated the child and wanted him to DIE, end quote. The grandmother also reporting name calling and degrading by Proudfoot. Law enforcement, okay, I'm not going to say that part. So, yeah, it's bad. That's bad. Really bad. Okay, here we go. The 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution provides that no state shall, quote, deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, end quote. In child welfare cases, the applicable standard for substantive due process liability under 42 USC in the deliberate indifference. Okay, let's see here. Let me find where there's some more stuff here. And they are claiming that Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, a missing child with documented disabilities and a known history of use, had a liberty interest in his personal security protected by the 14th Amendment, right? So if Sebastian, what I'm gathering that this says, oh yeah, I'm not even saying some of, those things on there, you know what I mean? But what I'm gathering that they're saying here is, we have the right to security, happiness, all that stuff. And Sebastian obviously had feared for his security, and DHS failed to meet Sebastian's security. Thank you, Janie. Appreciate you very much. So there's that. Okay. Let's see here. Rogers. Okay. The claim is brought on behalf of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers through his father and next friend Rogers. The state created danger doctrine requires that the state's own affirmative conduct created an increase to the plaintiff's exposure to danger. Kennedy versus Ridgefield City, 439 F3D 1095 9th Circuit 2006. Defendants' affirmative acts that created or increased the danger of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers include A, knowing Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers has a history of, the thing that happened in California. SA had a home life that DCS own records show was marked by physical abuse, emotional degradation, and a stepfather whom neighbors reported, quote, hated the child and wanted the child to DIE, end quote, and C, failing to take any action. Defendants acting under color of state law were deliberately indifferent to Sebastian's disappearance. This deliberate indifference is evidence of A, investigating Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' home on allegations of physical abuse by Proudfoot, documenting evidence of abuse and danger, leading to a determination that Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers was at, quote, serious or imminent risk of removal, end quote, and then closing the case without protective action. B, closing the investigation and thereby preventing any potential intervention or help by other entities. C, actively preventing other agencies and individuals from taking protective action by closing the case. D, ignoring the child's own admissions of living in fear of the stepfather. E, failing to interview Seth Rogers to obtain information critical to assessing Sebastian's safety, including Sebastian's expressed fear of Proudfoot. Proudfoot's ridicule of Sebastian about his prior SA and Sebastian's deteriorating mental and behavioral state. The failure to follow up on statements made by the child and school administration about his abuse. G, the failure to follow up on the statements made by the family's neighbor evidencing abuse and physiological harm. And H, the failure to deploy resources to commensurate with the known risk factors. Defendants knew or should have known of the extraordinary risk factors in this case through their participation in the physical abuse investigation. Their actual knowledge of Sebastian Waindrake Rogers' prior documented SA and its lasting consequences, and their failure to obtain from Rogers critical information about Sebastian Waindrake Rogers' fear of Proudfoot and his deteriorating condition. Their failures to act with urgency in light of these own risks constitutes conduct that shock the conscience. So, those people, it's good to see. Hey, Miss Chincha, good to see you, darling. All right. I mean, this obviously, absolutely, Seth, bothered Sebastian. You know, he obviously spoke to others, you know, whether that's a teacher, a doctor, or whoever, mandated reporters, we'll say. And this obviously bothered him, right? Because they made the reports. So there's that. Okay. And this is claiming, which I do agree with, a child is a vulnerable anyways. And whenever a child, you know, we have to have special attention for that. But even when a child is a child and then they have special needs, that requires even extra care, extra investigation of this, right? So there's that. Now, we're going to go to the next part in just a second, but I want to play something to refresh our little memories of Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot from our dear friend Nancy Grace. Okay. Here we go.
Ms. Proudfoot, what make and model do you drive?
I drive a Infinity SUV.
Year?
2017.
And sir, what do you drive?
I drive a diesel truck.
Well, damn it. Why did it? Hold on. Why did it? 1 second. Why is it doing this? Why is it doing this?
Ms. Proudfoot, what?
Try this.
Your vehicle?
In the garage.
In the garage. And inside the garage that night, Ms. Proudfoot?
In the garage.
In the garage. And Mr. Proudfoot, your vehicle was on location in Memphis. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there's only one car at the home. Is that right?
There was actually a work vehicle in the driveway at the time as well, but it hasn't moved we can't give out that information because we don't have permission from her work.
I don't understand that. What?
Nobody does.
Have you asked?
No, ma'am, we have not. Nobody has asked us
So that was
Right here.
okay. So you have a work van. Question to you, Miss Proudfoot, what do you do for a living?
I am an installation technician.
A security installation technician, which is part of, they talk about it in this filing, I think as well, that Miss Katie Proudfoot, that she installs security cameras, security systems, and all that. And, the cameras inside the home, the cameras outside of the home were just, out of all nights, they were just not working.
That night, was the work van blocking your driveway? Could someone go in and out of your driveway?
The van is parked at the back of my driveway, so someone can pull in, yes.
Got it.
That the Sumner County Sheriff's Office has reiterated that people should be keeping their own personalized searches around their property. The Sheriff's Office also is asking people to check their home surveillance videos, specifically between last Sunday afternoon through Monday morning.
Last Sunday afternoon, before Sebastian went missing.
The Sheriff's Office also is asking people to check their home surveillance videos, specifically between last Sunday afternoon through Monday morning. And so keep searching through your video. Again, if you have video that is of interest, you can send that directly to Sumner County Sheriff.
So their video wasn't working, but maybe others were, right?
Sheriff's Office, and we have where you can upload it on our website, News Channel.
Sumner County teen now in a third morning. The TBI did issue that Amber Alert yesterday.
This was day 3. They issued the Amber Alert on day 2.
Peyton Kennedy is at the search command post in Hendersonville for us.
Neil, exactly. You may have received that Amber Alert on your phone yesterday afternoon or seen the billboards over the interstate. It's all for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. And it's a heartbreaking development because this does mean that law enforcement now has reason to believe that Sebastian has either been abducted or is in serious danger of injury or death. And this does.
Now, that was day 2. I believe they did the Amber Alert. What was it that caused them to issue that Amber Alert? I don't know, but something wasn't smelling right in the beginning.
Mean that law enforcement now has reason to believe that Sebastian has either been abducted or is in serious danger of injury or death. And it has been an all hands on deck effort. On Monday, the Sumner County EMA director says there were over 200 searchers on the ground, plus canines, helicopters.
And what? He walked away without a scent. He is that ninja child that I think Chris said just got past all of those cameras. You even see cats in the neighborhood on their cameras, but you don't see Sebastian.
And drones. There's been help from about 24 agencies with rescue and dive teams on standby. We're told nothing is off the table.
I've actually been allowed into some neighborhood Facebook pages. They've got footage and see if you get someone that matches Sebastian's description. And call 451-3838, and we'll come look at it.
You're also encouraged to share his description on your social media page.
Yes, now the FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for any information that leads to the missing 15-year-old with autism.
Now, that is a big reward. That's a very big reward for the FBI.
I hope that's the catalyst to make something move. I hope that's the catalyst to make something move. I hope that's the catalyst to make something move.
Ken Widener with Sumner County EMA heads up the continuing search effort for Sebastian. To date, they've found no trace of the teen. Yes, it's possible Sebastian wandered off on his own, but the FBI reward money concedes the very real possibility of foul play.
If somebody were to have done something and they told somebody something, it may be what it takes for that person to get that off their chest. And
of course, in my opinion, there is foul play here. Of course there's foul play. Why? Because he didn't walk out of that house. He couldn't have went out the back doors, the side door, wouldn't go out the garage door, wasn't seen going out the front door.
And make the right decision.
And now the TBI references the reward for information leading to Sebastian or to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance.
Oh, that's interesting.
Make the right decision.
And now the TBI references the reward for information leading to Sebastian or to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance. To the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance. To the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance. Now, remember, investigators have never named any suspects.
Any evidence of foul play? We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
That is Sheriff Snuggle Struggle. We have not convicted anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence of foul play. And 2.5 years later, did you get any further?
But we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
Still, after 6 months with no good leads, everyone wonders how a child alone could vanish without a trace.
This was at 6 months. Now we are at 2.5 years.
So the hope is someone out there knows something and calls in the key tip to 1-800-TBI-FIND and helps solve the mystery of what happened to Sebastian Rogers.
You certainly cannot identify.
Okay.
Could play.
Yeah, that's your background to that. All right, getting back to these documents here. DCS knew that Sebastian identified Seth Rogers as a safe parent. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers told Boswell that, quote, he feels safe at dad's home, end quote, and identified his father by name and location. DCS documented Rogers' contact information and confirmed he lived in Clarksville. So guess what? Guess what? CPS knew about Seth. They knew about Seth. And they didn't. That's usually like CPS DHS 101. While they are investigating something going on in the home, they contact teachers, other parents, doctors. Didn't do that here. Not here. Really bad in my opinion. Okay. DCS knew that Sebastian identified him as a safe parent, feels safe at his home, and identified his father by name and location. DCS documented Rogers' contact information and confirmed he lived in Clarksville. Despite knowing Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers felt safe with his father and was being abused by at his mother's home, DCS took no steps to facilitate placement with Rogers or to alert Rogers to the dangers his son faced. DCS deliberate indifference to these facts deprived Seth Rogers of his constitutionally protected interest in his son's welfare and safety. Fourth cause of action, U.S. 42 U.S.C. 1983, failure to train and supervise. And this is where they're, kind of going after, they're not training DHS or CPS apparently correctly in this argument. Plaintiffs incorporated by reference all proceedings paragraphs. And the supervisor's liability when a supervisor fails to train or supervise subordinates amounts of deliberate indifference to the rights the person those subordinates encounter. Okay, let's get to the as set forth, the defendant's conduct violated Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' constitutionally protected liability interest in the personal security under the 14th Amendment and Rogers' protected liberty interest in the care, custody, and companionship of his son. Defendant Walker and Ritchie, as team leaders and supervisor, had direct supervisory and authority over DCS investigating involving Sebastian. They reviewed the case file, approved case classifications, and authorized case disclosures. They knew or should have known of the documented abuse, Sebastian fear, the stepfather admission, and the chapter hold on one second, where was it? And the 5E candidacy determination. They failed to ensure that proper protection action was taken. Commissioner Quinn and other supervisors, DOE, defendants, established, maintained, or ratified policies, customs, and practices that allow DCS caseworkers to close the cases involving children at documented risk of serious harm without taking protective action, adequate follow-up, and ensuring appropriate referrals. Those policies and practices are a moving force behind the constitutional violations suffered by Sebastian. There needs to be such training was obvious. The DCS investigate that the abuse and fears of a disabled minor from a home marked by documented physical and SA and a household member identified by neighbors as harboring lethal animosity toward the child are placed squarely in a situation where the abuse of specialized training in vulnerable victims investigations will predictably result in constitutional harm. They failed to prepare DCS officers for precisely this scenario. One, that the DCS had constructive, if not actual knowledge, was likely to arise, given DCS' own participation in their proceedings concerning Sebastian's constitutes deliberate indifference. Very interesting. Very interesting. Also, you'll normally see CPS go and speak to the neighbors as well, right? Now, I don't know if they did in this situation, but we do know that there was a report from the neighbor about, and this is what we're reading in this filing, that they claim and allegedly say that they heard the stepfather say he didn't care, or something to the effect of, what was it? He wishes he was, I'm paraphrasing here, he wishes he was dead, or hopes, or let me read it right. It's I can't remember which one was it. I just read it a minute ago. I can't remember what it was, but it's bad. The pressure washer thing, I believe now, in my opinion. What was that pressure washer thing? It was about him hitting him with spraying him with the pressure washer or something. Yeah, it's bad. Okay. All right. Preventing other agencies and individuals from taking protective action by closing the case, ignoring the child's own admission of living in fear of his stepfather, failing to interview Rogers to obtain information critical to assessing Sebastian's safety, including Sebastian's expressed fear of Proudfoot ridiculed Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers in his prior SA, and Sebastian's deteriorating mental, where he said, okay, by the failure of the family's neighbors' evidence. Trying to find that. Okay. All right. Here we go. DCS sustained involvement in Sebastian's Wayne Drake Rogers through the 2023 physical abuse investigation, together with its actual knowledge of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' prior SA and its consequences carried forward from the 2022 investigation, created a special relationship giving rise to an affirmative duty to protect him. DCS conduct multiple face-to-face interviews with Sebastian, entered the family home on multiple occasions, conveyed multi-agencies CPIT reviews, determined Sebastian met the candidacy to be in foster care, to be taken out of the house and in foster care, provided services, and exercised significant control over his welfare through its authority to remove him, provide services, or leave him in place. DCS also had an obligation as part of the investigation to interview Rogers, meaning Seth, Sebastian's other legal parent with joint physical and legal custody, whose knowledge of Sebastian expressed fear and deteriorating condition was directly relevant to any legitimate safety assessment. I agree. Having assumed this protective role and exercised authority over Sebastian's living situation, DCS had an obligation to act with reasonable care to protect him from any known dangers. DCS breached this duty by closing the physical abuse investigation without taking protective actions despite overwhelming evidence of danger, and by failing to contact or interview Rogers to obtain information that would have materially informed a proper safety assessment. Third cause of action. This is about what, the 14th Amendment, okay? The parental liberty interest. Plaintiff Rogers, Seth, had a constitutionally protected liability interest in care, custody, and companionship of his son Sebastian under the 14th Amendment. DCS knew that Sebastian's identified Rogers as a safe parent. Sebastian told Boswell that he, quote, feels safe at his dad's home, end quote, and identified his father. Okay. Same thing above. Just give me a second. Okay. Some of it just doesn't need read. It's not even jargon. One DCS undertook the investigation of Sebastian's abuse and neglect. It assumed a duty of reasonable care in conducting the investigation. Tennessee courts recognized that a duty of care arises when a defendant creates a foreseeable risk of harm to an identified plaintiff. The DCS had direct documented knowledge of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' profound vulnerability, his disabilities, and the knowing danger of the Proudfoot home. A reason. Okay. A lot of it just kind of repeats, so I'm just trying not to repeat it. Defendant's negligent act and omission cumulatively account to willful, malicious, and grossly negligent conduct. These actions constitute a conscious indifference to the consequences when a reasonable person would have recognized that the conduct was likely to harm another. The conduct described herein rises to the standard. Defendants breach their duty through the act of the omission described herein and constitute a gross negligence and constitutes a disregard for Sebastian and Seth's right as a parent. Okay. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's negligence and gross negligence, Sebastian remains a missing at-risk child, and Rogers has suffered substantial ongoing harm, including the loss of his son, companionship, and the severe emotional injury of not knowing whether Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is alive or dead. Plaintiffs are entitled to compensate damages from the government entity defendants that extent permitted by the Tennessee Government Tort Liability Act, also known as TGTLA, and a compensatory and punitive damages from the individual defendants in the individual capacities for their grossly negligent and willful failures. And we're going to go to this right here. Let me find it if I can. Okay, here it is. Little Sebastian. He's going to be 18 December 7th, guys. Let's not refresh that.
He's never gone to that construction site. We have drove around the construction site in a car, but no, he's never been on foot. He's never wandered over there. I mean, I understand where they're going with that, but no, unfortunately, there's not any chance that he would have that kind of interest. But then again, at the same time, dog scents were found in the construction zone. And then they disappear. You know, I mean, it's hit or miss, you know.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is not Sebastian. He's not a child that just goes outside at any point in time without telling somebody something.
It's somehow that zero knowledge.
Yeah, if it had happened, we don't know about it.
Looks like Missing in USA says, why are they wanting camera footage from Sunday afternoon? Because
we cannot release right now.
Okay,
that is not
I
something that
understand.
has been authorized us to
Right.
put out to the public.
And we respect that 100%. Ginger Snap says, I was reading that his favorite song is Eye of the Tiger. That's a great song.
He's got an eclectic taste of music. He is a malice. What is everybody has checked out. We have been questioned.
Here we go.
We have been vetted. We have been checked out. We have been questioned and everything of that nature. And literally have been cleared. There is no wrongdoing. There is no negative input from the parents or any of the family.
You said there was, they had asked you if there was any flashlights that were missing, and that prompted you to go look. Tell me about that. There was some questions.
So they apparently asked them if there was any flashlights missing. And that prompted them to go look for, his favorite keychain flashlight.
So I just wanted you guys to reiterate that.
Right. So Sebastian had it's about a little 3-inch. If you think about the little keychain flashlights, that you used to find at vendor tables they give out for free, cheapies. It was something that he picked up at one of the local festivals, and so right now we still this day cannot find it. So we are assuming that he took it with him because it cannot be found.
Not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. and then
9 p.m. Okay, 9 p.m. Sebastian goes to bed, right? 9 p.m. At 10 o'clock, KK is on the couch. Okay.
you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight. And nothing was.
So we got from 9 p.m. to midnight. We got 3 hours, right? 9 p.m. Sebastian goes to bed. 10 o'clock, she's on the couch. She's talking to Chris on the phone from 10 to just before midnight.
It's unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear, so that way there's transparency across the board.
Now, usually a person doesn't have to talk about transparency, in my opinion, when they're talking about their missing child. That's just my opinion. You guys can have a different opinion. Hey, War, good to see you, babe.
Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening.
9:43, 9:46.
We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified by all the police departments.
Again, generally, in my opinion, thinking about that, this is like the first interview that they ever did. One of the, if not, I think it was the first interview. It was one of the definitely one of the first, if not. Usually when you say your child willingly walked out of the door on their own accord, you're not saying our call logs have been verified. You're saying, what the hell happened to my child? Not, the call log was very lengthy. They have been verified. There's transparency across the board. And the church says,
bullshit.
TBI included. We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified by all the police departments, TBI included. We stayed on the phone. It was very lengthy. Mom did slightly start falling asleep while she was on the couch. I get, if you're newly in love, and, you sleep, you'll sleep together on the phone, all of that cutesy stuff. But they were not that, number one. And number two, they were having trouble allegedly in their relationship. And, if they're talking on the phone, how does KK start going to sleep?
Right, Trishy? Like if you're having a conversation, you don't slightly start falling asleep, in my opinion. He always says everything that's been verified and vetted, which nothing has. Yes, and that's what's also been claimed in these documents is how they came to the conclusion he was where he says he was.
Said, hey, you need to wake up, put the dogs up, go to bed. Now, mind you, that was right around midnight, just before midnight or right around midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So then mom does go to bed
Mom.
and wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school. And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house. Mom made an effort to look and search several times. Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? She goes, yeah, I cannot find him. I said, well, hang on. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yes, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to call 911.
And within 10 minutes, the sheriffs were dispatched to the location.
And you had told me that there hadn't been any particular situation that had occurred where you felt like there would have been something that happened. And I also had asked you if there were any friends that Sebastian.
Do you all have camera footage in your home? I've heard people saying that too.
That is some information that we cannot divulge at this time due to the ongoing investigation.
That part. So I find that very interesting because a year later, which I've spoken about at length, Nerdy Addict, well, he talks about more about that warrant and stuff that they did. They go back a year later for electronics allegedly in the home, specifically cameras.
Do you all have camera footage in your home? I've heard people saying that too.
That is some information that we cannot divulge at this time due to the ongoing investigation.
Now, why couldn't you just say, yeah, I have cameras in my home, or no, I don't have cameras in my home? In my opinion, you obviously don't want to talk about that because, in my opinion, there was cameras in the home, and they, in my opinion, just weren't really working that night. And you could say, yeah, we had cameras in the home, or no, we don't have cameras in the home. Obviously, we don't see Sebastian walking out of the house with those cameras, right? But there were cameras, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you guys for being patient. I do have 4 or 5 more messages that just popped up that said they want to know that you definitely took a polygraph and passed because it got cut off by a different question and they feel like you did not answer that. So I'm just asking one more time. This is the last time, guys, I'm going to revisit this question.
Okay. For the record.
Mo, he said he passed it, according to Amy.
Well, hold on. Somebody asked the question, was a polygraph taken and has it been passed?
Listen.
Yes. I didn't specify who or when.
He walked out of the door, guys. He walked straight out of the door. Out of the front door. But there was no scent. He walked out barefooted. He walked without a coat. He was ninja, and there's absolutely nothing. Hey, girl, mom. But you have to say polygraphs have came back. He said polygraphs have came back, and they have came back as passed. I didn't specify who or when. But Sebastian walked out of the door by himself.
But what I can tell you, everything has been vetted completely. Polygraphs have come back as passed. So I'm confused as in why they're all wondering if
manipulation,
myself, my wife, and the biological father took one.
Well, I can tell you 100% that Seth did not take one at that time at all. He did take one on Nancy Grace. Chris said he would take one on Nancy Grace. Name the time and place. Nancy named the time and place, and then Mr. Proudfoot said that TBI would give him a polygraph, which I don't believe at all, because if he was going to take one for TBI at this point, he would have already taken one. They wouldn't have, in my opinion, given him one 6 months later just to intrigue him. And yeah, and Seth absolutely passed, of course. Yeah.
When law enforcement agency has come out and told everybody, even in the TBI news link, if you guys hadn't read that, please go out and read that. That's got a lot of great information in it, especially it's probably the most up-to-date information. But they will even tell you, at this point in time, they have no reason to speculate foul play, anything on the parents. Everybody's been extremely cooperative of anything and everything they've asked us.
We say cooperative does not mean honest, folks. Cooperative does not mean honest. It means you are speaking to law enforcement. It does not mean you are being truthful with law enforcement.
Okay. And Bob said, I would like for Chris to clarify what he meant when he said he hasn't seen Sebastian since early February. Are you able to clarify? And if you're not, just state that.
So I cannot give certain details with this investigation, and that's kind of one of those things.
You can't say when the last time you saw your stepchild. You can't say you saw your stepchild 3 weeks before he goes missing. Make that make sense. How in the hell can you not say you've seen your stepchild 3 weeks before he goes missing? Please, someone, if please give me an answer to that.
Okay.
I wished I could eventually down the road. I'm sure that will
2.5 years later
allowed to come out.
Okay.
But as it stands right now, the answer that I've given is early February was the last time that I saw Sebastian. And no, I was not home when all of this took place. I actually got back to Nashville. I believe it was later in the afternoon.
And you know, talking about the truck pings, right? Don't talk about my truck.
Afternoon. But I was on the phone with the police for the majority of that day until I physically got here.
So you was on the phone with the police the majority of that day until you got there. Okay, but you were also at work, and you were also running a crane, and you were also on the phone with police majority of that day. And the
A
ping,
question that I've seen ask, so I figured I wrote it down to ask you. Why was the sheriff's office called and not 911?
So I don't, our house is not designated for city limits, which
he lives right next to a fire department and a high school.
jurisdictions for police are inside city limits. The sheriff's department is what governs our area because we're outside of that. So if you call 911 and you're outside of those areas, it goes to a central point, but then they will turn around and ask your location, and then they redirect you to another dispatcher. If you know who the dispatcher, who your law enforcement agency is that governs your area, I just call them straight. There's no point in wasting time going from one to another to get to what I need when I know exactly who to call.
And you guys were on a three-way call because you
Yes.
were not, you were coming from out of town. Is that correct?
We were on a three-way call.
Okay, let me hear that again.
Out of town call because you, and you guys were on a three-way call because you
Yes.
were not, you were coming from out of town.
And y'all were on a three-way call because you were coming from out of town. Well, when the three-way call happened to the non-emergency and the police, that's when he was at work. So there shouldn't have been a three-way call then. He shouldn't have been driving. He should have been sitting in his crane or at his work site.
Is that correct?
We were on a three-way call.
Yeah, that law enforcement was called on a three-way call.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Abby answers just like that.
I just wanted to clarify that. Terry,
I find that, in my opinion, suspicious when he kind of hesitates to talk about, because you were, headed back, you were out of town, and he kind of hesitates for that. But when you were on a three-way with a 911 call, instant yes.
Dean wants to ask you if Sebastian could have been sneaking out prior without y'all making a polygraph test.
The results are passed.
Chris, can I ask something? Because I know that the results,
I'm sure they're
the
going to
results
spin it.
Yeah, the results of the polygraph was that you passed. Is that both of you passed?
They
or
combined.
Can you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on.
I think
just listen to that again.
Is that you passed? Is that both of you passed, or can you say?
Listen.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that both of you that passed? Is that both of you that passed? Yes. It's completely okay to say she took one, I didn't take one. But in my opinion, lying about taking a lie detector test, that's different, especially when you say Sebastian walked out on his own accord, without shoes, without a coat, without being seen, without a scent.
I think that was my question that was up next was, so you've both taken a polygraph test. That was
Sure did.
some of the questions I see.
He said that
A
as
couple
well.
people asking that specifically. Did you take a polygraph test specifically? Chloe and Mo wanted to know specifically.
I've made
Could you
that
elaborate?
point many times, right? Clutch them pearls. If on the three-way call, why did he have to tell Katie to head back home because law enforcement is on the way? Wouldn't he know if it was on a three-way call? Yes. Yes. If I'm on the phone, 911 or whoever's on the phone, and Katie is on the phone, and we're all having the same phone call, and they say, yeah, we're headed that way now. You don't have to say, Katie, they're headed now. She's listening. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you take one and also pass?
I've got a question, and a lot of people have been.
So wanted to know specifically, could you elaborate? Did you take one and also pass?
I've got a question, and a lot of people have been asking, Chris, is there any reason why?
Okay. So we have that. What time is it here? Okay, I got a little bit more time before we go to our next live. Hold on one second. Okay. Sure. 1 second, guys. I got something that came in. I need to look up something. Tennessee. This is interesting. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. Now, let's go to this. Right here. Right here. We're going to go to our friend, Deception Detective.
Today we'll watch the Proudfoot's very first interview.
Survive, helpless and hopeless, and many other.
I can't find this interview. I think they took it down.
It's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop. It won't stop until he walks through the door.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Not anyone.
I know we're about keeping hope alive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna come home.
One thing I don't like with interviewers is when they provide answers to the interviewee. So what we're watching now is the unedited cut of the first interview the Proudfoots did with a local news station, I think WSMV4. And it's recorded in 4 parts. So even though this one's just 5 minutes, there's like 3 other parts that we'll look at. The issue with an interviewer providing the answer to the question is that we don't hear what the parents are saying or what they would have said without that feedback. And it's important for us to hear that because there are 7 things we look for when parents of missing children.
You don't want to say, I'm sure you guys are hopeful. You don't say that shit. Let them do the talking. Let them do the talking. Hold on 1 second. Let me fast forward this part. Because I only have a limited amount of time before we get started.
Listening.
He's going to walk through that door. And the street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
That boy's gonna have more friends than he knows what to do with when he comes home.
Was he allowed to have friends?
So here we are, 8 days now searching for him. Walk us through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really want to know, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that night.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom, I love you." Said goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
When I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
When I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. That when you went to wake him up for school, he wasn't there. If you woke him up for school, he's there. But she says, when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. Well, he's not there if you woke him up.
That's an interesting statement, and lots of people have commented that on my previous videos, saying that the mom said that. And it is a strange statement, because if someone's not there...
Now she'll say, and he wasn't here. She changed that verbiage, by the way. Now when she says, I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here. But she used to say, when I woke him up for school, he wasn't here. Now she says, when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
You can't wake them up for school. If she said, I went into his room to wake him up for school and discovered he wasn't there, that would make more sense. So why did she say that? It could be that this story is fabricated, right? So your imagination is a lot weaker than your memories. So if you scripted a story of what you did that morning, let's say she and Chris sat down and said, okay, here's what you're going to say. You're going to say you went into his room to wake him up for school. He wasn't there. You panicked. That could explain a small mess up like that, where she says something that doesn't technically make sense. Kind of like how the McCann said, well, we went into Madeline's room and found her not there. It doesn't make sense. You don't find something that's not there. You might realize she wasn't there, or you might find an empty bed, but you don't find someone who's not there. And there's a whole analysis behind that if you want to watch my McCann's playlist. But suffice to say, that is a strange statement. I recognize it as such, but we need multiple signs of scripting before we feel more comfortable accusing people of having scripted a story. So let's keep listening. And then we'll get into that third reason why I've put off analyzing these parents for so long.
It's usually around what time? When do you normally wake? So in your mind, that's usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock? So were you instantly thinking something's wrong, or were you like, he may just be...
See, Holly, stop. Don't say don't give any ideas when you are interviewing. Ask the question and let them answer the question. Don't feed them. You don't ever want to feed someone.
I took a second. I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find him.
I think it was on his divorce date. I think it was on their divorce date, but I'm the one that found that out.
Here's another thing that we're going to notice a lot as they talk and as we go through all of their interviews. And this is because of you guys, right?
I don't believe her when she says, I can't find him. The way she says it, I don't believe it.
So if you're part of the DD forum, I read all your posts. If you're a member of the channel, I read all your comments. If you're a subscriber, I read all your comments.
Let me fast
and
forward
lots of people have pointed out to me the number 3.
Well,
lots of the times or locations or amounts that the Proudfoots talk about involve the number 3. And
Yes.
that is an important detail. And 3 is actually known as the liar's number.
Liar's
Some
number.
52 favorite rules for sports. So it has minutes into that. Listen again.
About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find.
She doesn't believe herself when she says that. 3 minutes, give or take. You just don't hear missing parents say that, like as that being a funny thing, like give or take. With the laugh.
So 3 minutes in, give or take, I called my husband. Does that mean she's lying? Not necessarily. It could just be she's guessing about how long it took, right? So people don't actually have to be
laughing
trying to
afterwards for
deceive you
me.
to pick the number 3. But it does tell us that she's being a little bit loose with the facts. She's not doing her best to be specific unless it literally was 3 minutes. And the way she said it sounded like it was a guesstimate. So this could either be fabricated, like she took longer to call Chris, or her call with Chris was scheduled ahead of time. You know, something happened to Sebastian the night before, and she and Chris spoke, and he said, okay, at this time, you're going to call me. So she's saying, yeah, it took about 3 minutes to look for Sebastian because she wasn't actually looking for Sebastian. That's possible.
Girl, Mom, I'm so sorry. I did not see that. I apologize. Thank you for 21 months, my dear. Girl Mom says, I wonder if there was a fee if Sebastian didn't go to his doctor appointment and that's why they canceled. I don't know. Does that happen? They don't do that here, but I guess they could charge you. Like if you didn't cancel, you canceled within a maybe.
He said, what do you mean you can't find him? I said, he's not in the house.
I don't believe her. Watch his eyes.
And so at that point, is that when you call 911 or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and
spirits.
I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well.
Okay. The normal places he would be on the other side of the bed. He's a 15-year-old. Is he on the other side of the bed? What the hell does that even mean? What the hell does that even mean? Is my 15-year-old on the other side of the bed?
Well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made a report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
So you said you were on the phone with her, so
Yes,
you were not home.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude project. So it's,
bullshit.
I have an earpiece in that talks to my phone. I have another earpiece in that does the radios. So when she was talking to me, it was like, what? I was confused. We talked about where he could possibly be, and then we went from there and led to calling the cops, and here we are now.
Shaking his head no the entire time.
Within minutes, they're at the home.
Yes, ma'am.
It was rapid fire. They had cars.
They
They had
lied.
cars from here down to the
main
road, as far as I could tell.
So what's going through both of your minds? I mean, are we panicking? Is it this, I think he's probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
Stop asking,
Run. He's
answering
not a
all.
runner. He's never run away.
This is another interesting statement that I've seen brought up a lot. My son doesn't run. He's not a runner. It's a very specific denial. So first of all, okay, fine. He's not a runner, but could he have walked out the door? Could he have been pushed out the door? I know that Peter Hyatt has a theory that they locked him outside as a form of punishment.
I absolutely adored Peter Hyatt, and he was so good to me. Like behind the scenes, he kind of mentored me on a lot of things. And but I disagree with Peter on that. I don't think he was locked out or anything like that.
And then he might have wandered off or something happened to him. That wouldn't require him to run. He could literally just be pushed out the door or walk out the door. So saying he's not a runner could be 100% true, but it doesn't mean that he wasn't put out and walked off or wandered off due to their negligence or to escape abuse. You don't have to run away to get away from an abusive parent. You can walk away. So that is an interesting thing that she brings up. And also, I've seen clips of them saying he walked out that door conclusively. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe he did walk out the door. But maybe he walked out because he was told to, or because there was a threat of punishment if he didn't step outside the door. So that could all be 100% true. The other main thing here is when they talk about him walking out the door, it's very conclusive. How do they know he wasn't kidnapped? How do they know he didn't, someone didn't knock on his window and have him come out and then close the window behind him?
Because, well, now, which Dee Dee didn't know at the time, how did we know he didn't walk out the door? Well, Chris answered that for us. And he said, if he would have, jumped out of the window, he would have landed on the bushes or whatever. And, quote, yeah, we would have heard something. Or we would have heard that.
And trick him like a predator, tricking him out of the house, kidnapping him, taking him. How do they know he went out the door and not the window, right? So there is some conclusiveness here that is concerning. Now, obviously, we're only 4 minutes into an interview.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate you, love. Good to see you. Call in the Cold Case Foundation. They have a plethora of experts in resourcing, dang it. And the cold case, I'm sure that Chris and them would be very happy to help. You just got to have Sumner freaking County, get out of their ego.
But I'm pointing all these things out.
Thank you, love.
Because these should add up over time. If we see them fail, all 7 of these things on our checklist, we can place more chips on our bet that they know what happened to them.
Way before. I don't know why.
Yep, I said that
I don't
yesterday.
know why he walked out that door.
Once again, I don't know why he walked out the door. But how does she know if he walked out? The question should be, I don't know what happened to him. She doesn't know why he walked out the door.
That's a very good point Dee Dee just made there, right? She doesn't know why he walked out.
But she didn't.
Listen.
She doesn't know why he walked out the door. But she does know if he walked out the door.
Yes, right. So they say they assume the front door because the back door was locked. The deadbolt. The man door, deadbolt. He would not refuse to go out the garage door. And there's also cameras on that side of the house. But she knows, I don't know why he walked out that door. Listen to this. Pam, thank you for the gift, honey. Appreciate you.
And this is where Peter Hyatt and Pat Brown's analysis makes a lot of sense to me. And I recommend subscribing to their channels. I've recommended both of them in my member section for a very long time because I think they do great work. I personally have put off analyzing these parents myself, however, because of the way that I approach true crime and the sort of Bayesian thinking that I do about when you're.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not.
He's a good kid.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not.
I just remember what in these filings that the neighbors reported hearing allegedly Mr. Chris say. And that was something to the effect, let me see if I can find the quote real quick. Something to the effect of, okay, I got it here. The combination of combination of SA physical abuse by Proudfoot admitted by, and the neighbors reporting Proudfoot, quote, hated the child and wanted the child to die, end quote. Babs, thank you so much for renewing your membership, baby. Appreciate you very, very, very much, my love. Good to see you. Pam, thank you very much for the gift, love.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means.
He's not a mischievous child by any means, but seems like, we know that Sebastian, in this filing, he was, even fearful that he lied to Chris and Katie about brushing his teeth. And now that CP and KP, they say, he was getting in trouble and all this stuff and wasn't listening. But here, first interviews, he's not a mischievous child. He doesn't get in anything.
But there's answers to questions that have no answers, or questions with no answers right now that we are searching for desperately. And we just don't have that.
That you think back and there might have been a reason he was possibly upset or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside. Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I haven't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving.
Notice how the constant question they have is why he walked out. That's what they're saying they don't know. They're not.
Also, she says she's talking about that day, right? That day when they woke up that morning, like when they were having a good day. But Sebastian technically went missing the next day, right? He went to bed. She went to bed. It's the next day. And this is why I think something happened to Sebastian before midnight. Before midnight. Now, I don't think he was, in my opinion, taken out of that house until after midnight. But I do believe something happened before midnight. Pam, thank you so much for the gift, darling. Appreciate you very much. Thank you, loves.
Not saying they don't know whether or not he walked out. So I think it's safe to assume they know for a fact that he walked out that front door. And the question is, of course, did he walk out because he wanted to be a teen runaway, or because he was being abused, or because...
First interview was YouTube, not showing their face. Then there was this interview. And then the third interview, they only showed their hands.
He was pushed outside as a form of punishment. I think that's what this all boils down to at this point, because they seem certain that he walked out the door. Now, could they be hoaxing? Could they be saying that he went out that door because they did something else to him and they want us to believe he walked out the door? Yes. But the fact that they're slipping up by saying that they know he went out, they just don't know why, seems to indicate that they're trying to hide the fact that they know for sure he went out the door.
Behaving.
He wasn't.
Make more sense if we'd been fighting.
Or you'd been in trouble, but he hadn't been in trouble. So, I mean, the $1 million question, why did he go? And the other $1 million question is how.
What about social media?
Thank you, honey, for the
Is there
tender heart
anything that,
you love.
anyone he could have contacted? I understand he was somewhat of a gamer, or what was he? There was a video game he loved, right?
Minecraft. He loves Minecraft. The game that he has is not online. He has the Switch.
We don't, because of how social media can be, he doesn't have accessibility to communicate with folks.
I don't think it was because of social media. I think you just didn't let him do a fucking thing.
On the internet.
On internet. I mean, we have a firm belief that we just don't feel that right now he's capable of having that kind of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, his phone is locked down, his computers, his game. He doesn't have a gamer tag. He doesn't have online capabilities with games. I mean,
We've combed every electronic.
I mean, we've cooperated.
They've combed okay, it's very interesting, in my opinion, how Katie says, we've combed every electronic, and then she doubles that. We've combed every electronic, and then Chris goes to, we've cooperated. Now, a year from this interview, there's going to be a warrant that happens at their home. And they were allegedly looking for electronics.
Combed every electronic.
I mean, we've cooperated with all the authorities as far as anything they've asked us to provide, we've provided.
So far, they're speaking about him in the present tense.
Thank you, Lori. Appreciate
They
you.
seem to be trying to be cooperative. They are.
Let me get to the next thing. Okay, here we go.
For help, and they must be because they think is clipped from this.
And still just don't have any answers.
Did he have any friends that could have possibly contacted him in some way on his phone?
All his friends at school have been questioned to my knowledge, and none of them knew anything.
So this big question mark. He's vanished.
Yes, ma'am.
And no one can figure out where or why. All right. So let's talk too about the relationship involved, because the biological father is very much involved in Sebastian's life as well.
Yes, ma'am. Very much.
Right. And how would you describe?
If you've not followed along on this series, I have analyzed the biological father, Seth Rogers, in my explain.
And the four of you.
It's relatively good. I mean, we talk regularly. He talks to his son on a regular basis, sees him on a regular basis. He's involved in school and therapy, and I mean, he doesn't have any extracurricular activities, but I can tell you now, if he did, his dad would be in the front row.
In two different households. And the communication between the three of us is great. I mean, yes, we're just like every parent. We all have our disagreements, but in the end, we come together as a team and we work and we come up with solutions that as we best see fit. I mean, he's
meaning you do as Edgar says, or nothing else works.
I'm almost in contact with him almost daily.
Let's talk about Sebastian. Tell me about Sebastian. How would you describe him?
Sweet.
Yes, Seth. I have actually spoke to people at that school, and they said that she never came back. She never asked for it. I think it was even his backpack back or something like that. Like, didn't ask for any of his items back or anything.
Stubborn. He loves to help. He loves running and he loves to play his games and his fidgets and Uno. Lord, that's one of his favorite games right now. Favorite color is green.
Does he love music?
Oh, God, he loves music.
An eclectic taste.
Probably
An eclectic. I mean, from as everybody knows, Eye of the Tiger to Eddie Vedder.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we got Pearl Jam on one hand, we've got Survivor on the other over here, we've got Taylor Swift, and
He's got a big.
You see how they became more comfortable with talking about truth. They automatically lightened up. They became way more comfortable with talking about the truth. You can tell the difference. They're not on edge there. So they're comfortable with talking about Sebastian liking Eye of the Tiger, liking Taylor Swift. They lit up. Big difference in when someone's lying. They're not on the edge.
Big crush on her. I mean, country, rock,
no
classic.
hip hop. We don't allow the hip hop.
Well, he doesn't really
Well, I
get
say
into it
rap and
anyways.
things.
You mentioned he loved running. So did he love the outdoors at all? I mean, would something outside that was somewhat outdoorsy be?
So Chris says that they don't allow hip hop. He also said that the phone was locked down, no internet. So they seem like strict parents.
Militant parents.
Enticing to him, or
Guys, I hate to end it here, but I have another live stream scheduled in 5 minutes from now. We're going to be speaking about the Ohio 16 children. And I got to get ready for that. I got to pull everything up for that. So we're going to continue to follow this. Oh, thank you, Serenity. Appreciate you. A couple days before Seth's lawsuit, I was talking to my husband about Sebastian and how he still has not been found. My heart hurts for Seth. I can feel his pain when he talks. He's very broken. He certainly is. All he wants is a son. All he wants is a son. Thank you for that, my dear friend. Appreciate your serenity. All right, guys. We're going to continue to follow this, and we shall see. We shall see. Hopefully, Sebastian is found and justice is served. Love you guys. I'll see you guys if you're interested in the Ohio 16. I'll be live in just a few. Much love, everyone.